Hello everyone, my name is Jack Murphy, and like you, I am a teenager who wanted to make some money. I've tried a bunch of different ways to make money as a teenager. I have friends who tried a bunch of different ways, and in this video I'm going to go over 4 really solid ways you can make money as a teenager. So let's get started right away. For each of the side hustles I go over in this video, I'm going to give 3 ratings and then an overall rating for the side hustle itself. I'm going to do difficulty, I'm going to do time commitment, and potential earnings. And then at the end, I will just say an overall rating for that side hustle. So the first method is selling stuff online on sites like eBay or just reselling in general. For this, you can be 13 years old enough, I would say, is a good age range. And you do need a parent or guardian or someone 18 plus to make you an account if you want to do it online, which is probably the easiest way. So if you can't convince anyone of 18 years or older to make an account that you can manage, you're out of luck for this one. Selling stuff online really isn't too much of a starting cost. You really only need to buy like tape because you can just get free boxes from USPS on their website. So if you just have stuff in your house that you don't use anymore and you're okay with selling because you think you can make a little money from it, then you really have max like $10 in initial starting cost until you can start sending them. And then as you go longer, maybe you run out of stuff and you want to start reselling. That's going to take some initial investment, but hopefully you have a little capital built up from stuff that you just don't use in your house anymore. So you can go that route, or you can just start straight away reselling, but you will need some starting capital. I'm going to be talking about eBay because that is the platform I used and probably one of the more popular ones. So basically when I started eBay, it was really easy to get started. You just got an account. You had to make it through a parent because I'm not 18, but you make the account. It's really easy to list something. You just got to take a couple pictures, put a couple keywords in the title, write a decent description, and post it, and eBay does all the work finding someone to buy it for you. So that part of it's really easy. You know, the shipping part might seem difficult to some people, but you can get the boxes for free on USPS's website. As you can see in the background, I got some like right there. I bought a bunch a while ago for free and just had them and been using them. Tape, I'm sure you probably have tape, or you can just buy like $3 tape at a Staples, and you can get the buyer to pay for shipping, so you don't have to worry about adding that into your profits or whatever. And yeah, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of videos on how to do it, so it won't take you long to learn. This was my first side hustle, so I didn't have any initial capital to start it with, but I was able to, get the free boxes, and I sold stuff just in my house that we didn't use anymore. So, my parents let me sell a bunch of stuff we just had in our basement, and I got to keep most of that money. I got to reinvest a little bit into the reselling, which is buying supplies and whatnot. And then I also had now capital to do other types of side hustles because I have some money. I haven't really done too much reselling. I haven't really bought a lot of stuff to just sell on eBay again, but you can just go to a thrift store, a flea market, or a yard sale, and you could probably find some decent stuff to resell. You'll go through a lot of worthless stuff, but a lot of people have a lot of success doing that. You might find something that's worth $1,000 and buy it for $2. You never know. So there's a lot of opportunity there if you're willing to put in the work. Something a lot of people do is like specialized reselling. So that's like focusing on a particular item or just niche. So sneakers is a popular example. A lot of people do watches, maybe comic books, or manga, stuff like that. You can like really specialize and learn, so you know how to, like what everything's worth and when is a good time to buy it, stuff like that. Here's some screenshots from my personal eBay account. You could just see some of the profit I made in 2021. I started like in that summer, and after taxes and whatnot, there's my total take-home profit, and here's my 2022 eBay total sales. You can see it's a pretty high number, and then you can see here the total take-home profit, also pretty good, not bad for something I don't put that many hours into and don't find that difficult. So for my difficulty rating, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. It's really not that hard to learn. The hardest part is getting the stuff to sell, because once you run out of stuff in your house, you're gonna have to go looking for stuff to make profit on, and you're gonna have to buy and then sell it for more. And that could be a little difficult, but once you get to that point, you probably know what you're doing. Time commitment, 8 out of 10. That's a high rating because it's not a big time commitment. You don't really got to do anything once you make the listing. Once you make the listing, eBay or whatever platform you use to sell will find someone, they'll buy it, and then you got to package it and ship it. Potential earnings, I gave a 6 out of 10. Most of the time you're probably going to be making a little bit of profit on each item. You probably don't have a lot of crazy expensive stuff at your house to make hundreds of dollars on, but you know, maybe you go to a yard sale, spend $2 on a comic book, and it's a first edition Spider-Man, and you make a couple $1,000s selling it. So there's obviously some potential where you could make a lot of money, but on average you're probably going to just do decent numbers, give you some extra money every week. Good for a teenager. As an adult with actual bills, it might need to do more volume, might be more difficult, but yeah, for a teenager, not bad. So overall rating, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is because personally it has been my second highest income stream. I've done really well for it. It was my first income stream. It's what started all my entrepreneurship, and I think it's a great starter for any teen interested. The second side hustle in this video is just your typical normal teen job, where you're getting paid a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. You might not want to work a job, maybe that's why you clicked on a side hustle video, but in reality, a lot of side hustles take money to start. Not all of them, most of them, and the ones that don't would be a lot easier if you had money to start. So getting a job is really safe, reliable, and consistent way to get paid. I got a job 2 years ago. I walked into a country club, said, "Hey, where's the caddy master?" And they told me. I asked him, "Hey, can I caddy here?" And I got a job that day. So it's not hard to get a job, usually, depending on your area, but there's probably something you can do, and that paycheck I bring home goes right into an investment or another side hustle, or maybe I just want to hang out with my friends, but you need money to start doing that. Now, there are definitely some difficulties in getting a job. There just might be nowhere close to you. Depending on your location, there might be a lot more competition. You might not have transportation because you are a teenager. Me personally, I had to get rides from my parents every day until I was able to drive, and that was definitely harder to work into my work schedule, but I managed. Getting your first job is the start to becoming successful. Every successful entrepreneur, every millionaire who's self-made, all had to get that first job, and like Jake Gyllenhaal said, you have to make the money to buy the scratch off, or something. He said something like that. Difficulty, I give an 8 out of 10, because like I said before, location, competition, and transportation are all big factors as a teenager you got to take in. There's also just difficulty of the workplace, you know, especially if it's your first job, and then working in a place like McDonald's, where you might have just back-to-back customers, you're always on your feet, or maybe you work at somewhere like Walmart or any type of retail store, and maybe you got to kick the guy walking around no shoes, no shirt, sniffing the mangoes. I don't know what's going on in there, but you know, it could put you in a difficult spot. You might not be used to that, but most people are able to handle it, so you should be fine. Potential earnings, 5 out of 10, because like I said before, you're getting paid by the hour, the same every hour, and as a teenager, there's probably not a lot of room for growth unless you decide to work at whatever company you start at forever. You're not likely to get a lot of promotions, so I'm going to leave it at in the middle, 5 out of 10. Overall rating, I'll give a 6 out of 10. That score might be buffed up a little because I've had a good experience at my job. I get paid well. It's a great place to work for, and it's not too difficult, but I also have to take into account all the less desirable jobs that a teenager might get. So 6 out of 10 is pretty fair. The third side hustle I'm going over today is what I call the freelance jobs. So what are freelance jobs? These are jobs where you are your own boss, you're not working for someone, and you take up clients. So what's an example of one? I'm sure everyone's familiar with babysitters. So you're technically not working for a company, you're just working for the parents you're babysitting for. And this gives you a lot more freedom in some way because you can pick your own hours easier. You still got to work, hours that kids are home alone or need to be watched, but you're not working, on your boss's schedule, and you get to kind of pick who you work for. If you're working for parents who are really annoying, don't want to pay you, just don't work for them, and that's easier to get away from than maybe a bad manager. There's also way more scalability because there are other jobs besides babysitting in the freelance area where you can scale up more, where you could work for more people, maybe work for more people at once. You can maybe charge more than whatever minimum wage job you would get, assuming you have the skills that are worth that type of money. And there's just a lot more room for growth. You can possibly find a career in a freelance job as a teenager. You might not find what you work for forever, but you could find something that you want to go through college with or whatnot. Just to give you some ideas of freelance jobs, there's babysitting, there's pet sitting, you can be a dog walker, you can be a plant sitter. Some people will pay you to water their plants while they're on vacation, tutoring, shoveling snow, mowing lawns, and then more like advanced online versions. So you could be someone's social media manager, or you can edit someone's YouTube videos if you can find out how to connect to them through maybe like a DM or an email. So that kind of brings me to my next point. In freelance jobs, you kind of have to advertise yourself because you have to find work. You're not getting work given to you by a manager or something at a McDonald's. So how do you do this? You got to advertise yourself at younger ages. Like if you're 13, your best chance is like through word of mouth or just your neighbors, because not many people will hire a 13-year-old if they don't know them personally or know their parents and trust them. Because you are taking a lot more responsibility with these freelance jobs. You are the boss, you are the person they would complain to. So if you can't be responsible for watching a kid, you might want to wait or just pick something that has a little less responsibility to it. As you get older, you might need a little less connection to get these jobs, so you can advertise yourself maybe online, Facebook or Instagram. Maybe your town has a Facebook account and you could get them to put an ad for your babysitting service or dog sitting service. There are also apps that you can use to advertise yourself for pet sitting, babysitting, whatnot. There's a lot more research you have to put into this on yourself to find out something for your specific type of job that you would be doing. But yeah, advertising yourself is a big part of freelance jobs. Difficulty, it's hard to give a set difficulty for this entire genre because there's so many different types of freelance jobs. But I'll say 1 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. Because I had pet sitting before. I've done pet sitting and it's really easy. Like they weren't difficult pets to deal with. So yeah, that's like a 1 out of 10. But maybe managing someone's social media who's like a big influencer, that's probably more difficult. Or mowing lawns, that's like physical labor. It could be really hot out. So it's pretty broad. You can kind of guess the difficulty before you take that job. You can kind of get a sense of it, but you got to figure that out per job. For time commitment, I give it a 6.5 out of 10 because most of the freelance jobs that a teenager will be doing is an hourly pay, but you could get something that's by the project and that's a little bit better. But you also have to put that time into advertising yourself at first, which you're not going to be getting paid for. And yeah, there's a lot more scalability to it, but it's still pretty close to a regular job in terms of time commitment. I give potential earnings a 7 out of 10. This is because you are going to be getting paid mostly by the hour for a lot of the freelance jobs, but you could probably make more than minimum wage for some of them depending on your location and depending on who you work for. But they're also like paid by the project type of jobs. So you can get paid $100 for a project, spend 2 hours on it, and then make $50 an hour. So, if that works out for you, it's definitely more scalable. You can definitely make more money per hour if you get to a certain point in your freelance job. Overall rating, I give it an 8 out of 10. This is because you have a lot more freedom. You probably are a little more passionate about what you do. There's a lot more scalability where you can increase your earnings over time, and you just have potential to make more money even at the beginning So there's a lot of positives to this. Once you get yourself out there, once you advertise yourself and get some clients, it's smooth sailing from there. The final side hustle on this list is starting a YouTube channel. Yes, I had to put it on here. I think everyone knows about it, but if you don't, you could start a YouTube channel and you could make a lot of money as a teen, but you have to be good at it. Starting a YouTube channel is not something everyone can do. It's just not something everyone would be good at, because you have to be a certain type of person to do it, and it's pretty hard. So if you're not like passionate about the topic you do, you'll probably get burnt out and you'll probably just quit. So it definitely is not for everyone, but for the people that it is for, they could be very successful with it. I'm not going to go over everything that happens in starting a YouTube channel. There's a lot better videos for that. But you know, you have to find a topic, a hobby or business that you are interested in, and you can talk about and teach for a long time and not get burnt out. So for example, I do finance because I'm just really interested in finance and I love learning and love teaching about it. That is like my niche. That is like my topic that I focus in for these videos. I don't just post about anything. So a lot of people make videos just about gardening or maybe just about teaching math or something. The only time I think where you can kind of like post more broad stuff is maybe like gaming, if you just game like a bunch of different games and you're a personality and people going for the personality, but that's kind of different and you kind of got to figure that out before you start the channel. Once you start posting videos, you need to get 1,000 people to subscribe to you, and then you need to get those people to watch your videos for 4,000 hours collectively. And then once you get that, YouTube will start putting ads on your video and then pay you from that. So you can kind of earn money passively after you hit that point, because a video you posted a year ago could be getting views and have people watching those ads. So it becomes kind of a passive income source once you get really, far down that line. Once you start getting paid, you make a lot of money exponentially, so increases over time, and it becomes a lot easier to dedicate that many hours or a lot of hours to working on your YouTube channel. So I'm going to give difficulty a 9 out of 10, because like I said, there's just so much that goes into starting a YouTube channel. You have to do it for free at first because no one's going to pay you to make a video with 1 view. And you just have to do everything at once, all by yourself, and it's just hard. It's just hard to do. Time commitment is probably sitting around a 9 out of 10. Maybe when you get to like a higher level where you're making like a decent income off of YouTube, you can bump that down to a 7. But especially in the beginning, you're putting in hours and hours and hours for maybe nothing, but you're not getting paid for a long time, and you have to put a lot of time into making videos. So the time commitment is definitely up there. Potential income, 10 out of 10. There are millionaires from YouTube. People can make millions of dollars. Obviously, that's not everyone. Not everyone's going to be making $1 million, but a lot of people can make a decent side income, especially if you're a teenager. A couple $1,000s a month isn't impossible, so the potential to make that is definitely there. You could definitely make more than like a regular job. You could make 6 figures if you're full-time on YouTube and you have the following for it. So potential income definitely deserves to be a 10 out of 10, maybe 11 out of 10. Overall rating, I give an 8 out of 10 because it can definitely be a full-time job for an adult, not even a teenager. It could be a full-time job for an adult if you love it and are good at it, and you can make a great amount of money doing it. You can make a full-time living. It's definitely hard at first. It's definitely a slow start, but if you like it and you commit to it long-term, it could be really, really great situation for you. Those are the 4 side hustles I'm going over in this video. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of them before, if you've had success or failure. Talk about it, because maybe someone reading the comments could learn something from that. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Peace.